You are listening to the Two Fans and a Bandwagon podcast. And we are too fab.
That's what I'm starting with. Let's congratulate literally almost perfect bracket, Matt. He made one mistake. He picked the Steelers over Cleveland. That's the only mistake he made. He had everything else perfect, including a Buccaneers Super Bowl win. Congratulations to the elder statesman in the room.
I'm not clapping for that.
Thank you. Thank you so kindly.
He will never,
Well,
ever...
what about Gronk with 2 TD catches for a record?
The guy with the jersey over there? Are you talking about him?
No, I didn't catch it.
I'm talking the guy with the jersey on.
Well, he had the Chiefs versus Green Bay with Green Bay champs. Kind of a, but he also had the Bucks losing to the Saints in like the first round.
I had the Browns over the Steelers, though, didn't I?
You had the Browns over the Steelers, my man.
And then I had
Baltimore.
Baltimore.
You had the AFC bracket perfect.
Pick. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was the wild card, myself. Woo! I got nothing right.
Nothing right?
The only thing I had right was the Chiefs to the AFC Championship, losing to the Ravens, which was wrong. I had the Steelers versus the Bills, which was wrong. In the AFC, I had the Saints versus Green Bay, which was wrong. And I had Green Bay beating the Ravens in the Super Bowl, which was wrong. But I swear I was just going for craziness. I wasn't being serious.
Well, I'm pretty sure Matt was going for craziness too. And
I think he had an educated pick, and I think he just nailed every single thing. And even your Steelers over the Browns wasn't crazy. That was, I think, expected until what happened, transpired. So this is our first podcast post Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's been a while.
It's been a week.
When did we do our last one? Last Saturday?
Not Saturday.
So it's been 8 days.
We talked about
baseball. We did it prior. We did a podcast
the
day before a Super Bowl and didn't talk about the Super Bowl. Right. That's what we do. So now let's talk about the next irrelevant sport. International water polo. Have you guys heard the rumors about the international water polo team?
No.
Neither have I.
What team? What country? You guys want to talk about
Tibet.
Sports?
The Tibetan water polo team. Tibetan women's water polo team.
The transgender women's Tibetan water polo team.
Yes. The transitioning women's Tibetan water polo team. The controversy. They're all on steroids. That's all I was getting at. And they want to call that the pure sport. Unbelievable.
So
what do you guys want to talk about? Totally open book today. Anything. Doesn't have to be even sports related. There's I don't think there's enough going off really in the sports world to like dedicate a full hour to just all sports. How's life?
Kidding me? We could talk about rugby.
I don't know anything about rugby.
I could teach you about rugby. It's fascinating. It's a great sport that not enough people know about or care to watch.
I probably won't disagree with you with that because like I've seen the hype in arenas and it gets pretty crazy down there. And by down there I mean like down under. That's where the rugby is big.
No, the rugby is big in Europe, not Australia. It's big when it comes to international in Australia.
Okay. Well, then that's what I pay attention to. Are you talking league play rugby is bigger in Europe than it is in Australia? Like what's the biggest rugby league in the world? Where is that? Like where's the National Hockey League of rugby?
It's in England and it's I can't remember the name of it. It's something like the Premier Rugby fucking. The thing with rugby though is that like even like the leagues outside of like England, they're not big.
So the Super League and the National Rugby League. Okay.
The NRL, yeah.
Where's the National Rugby League located? Is that in Europe? Australia, mate.
Australia?
Yeah. Oh, you son of a bitch. I knew I was right.
I thought they were more about the AFL down there.
And then Super League.
Anyways, league rugby is not what people watch. It's international. It's all about the countries, right?
Okay, the Super League is the other one. And actually the Super League was first in the list of where they're like popular. And where's the Super League located? The Super League is England, France. And they play Australia's National Rugby League in the World Cup Challenge. So there you go.
Nobody gives a shit about those two leagues. What people care about is every 4 years when they do World Cup and every year when they do Six Nations.
Is that like FIFA World Cup like levels what you're talking about, like in comparison? Okay.
Yeah. So like World Rugby Cup is every 4 years. The last one was 2019.
FIFA, yeah. Okay.
And then every year they have Six
you figure they would
Nations.
line that up with an even number, so it's not 2019, 2023, 2027. It's weird.
4 years.
I know that, but they should have had the first one on an even year. Drive me mental.
Yeah, because Anyways, so right now Six Nations is going on, and what Six Nations rugby is Six Nations: England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, France, and Italy. Okay, those are your Six Nations that play every year. Now, out of those 6 teams, who do you think is the worst?
Who do I think is the worst?
Yeah,
I have just an automatic thought right away, but I feel like that's a trick because like I assume everyone would say Italy, right? But I will say the worst is Scotland.
Matt, who do you think the worst team in Six Nations rugby is?
I couldn't even. I don't even have a guess.
Nothing. You have 4.
Nothing, man.
You have 4 English.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Or 4 British teams and 2 European teams: France and Italy, and England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales.
I'll take Wales.
You're a piece of shit. Okay. Wales is one of the best teams in the league. Right now.
Did you know that Chris was Welsh?
That's the only reason I know about rugby. But no, you're right, Dan. It's Italy, and it's actually been Italy for like the last 100 years. I don't know how long they've been running it. They literally
they're perennially
it's laughable.
The joke of the Rugby Six Nations Championship.
It's like, you know how you could pick Kazakhstan in international ice hockey and
Right.
NHL 13?
Yes, they're like
They are
52
Kazakhstan.
overall. They're that bad. Okay.
They like lose by 60 points every game.
Chris, why don't you tell Matt your story about your unique, like, I don't want to say citizenship, but like your unique opportunity at citizenship. Because it's a unique part of you. Even when I found out years later, I was like, what? Just a quick little history story. Give him like a 1-minute blurb.
Okay.
My dad is
I'm ready for this.
Welsh by birth. My mother is Canadian by birth. They met in Edmonton. They moved to Germany on a British Air Force base where I was born. So I was born a British citizen in Germany, not German. I became a German citizen because I eventually had to go to school there. And then I moved to Canada. So I got my Canadian citizenship. So technically, when I moved to Canada, I had 3 citizenships. One for the UK, one for Germany, one for Canada. So I wouldn't be able to get a German one now, but I would still be able to get a dual citizenship in the UK because my dad's still Welsh.
Pretty cool, eh? So does that mean
Very cool.
Does that mean my mother can still get her British citizenship because her mom is still British?
Most likely, yeah.
Huh. Because my grandmother.
That's usually how it works.
My grandmother isn't Canadian. My grandmother is English. She doesn't have a Canadian passport or anything.
If one of your parents had citizenship, right?
Yeah.
It's very easy for you to get citizenship.
Huh.
That's why when I came to Canada,
Oh, because your
my
mom's a Canadian.
my dad had to apply and like do a test and all that. I just got it because my mother was Canadian.
Right.
I'm sure it depends on where in the world, but like if I went to the UK right now,
I would think it has like a time frame too.
You're UK.
technically yes.
So you're.
I'm a Canadian immigrant, so my
You're
actual
an immigrant, are you?
my birth certificate.
Hey, get out of my country, boy.
Whatever.
We're deporting all Welsh. Get out.
Yeah.
Pretty cool, right? I know. I always like that story because there's like so many connections. It's like, yeah, Canadian Welsh guy born on German soil on British soil in a German country. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like 5 countries
Like,
involved.
you're German. I'm like, I'm not German at all. I'm a British Canadian is what I am. Who had citizenship in Germany when I was
And then that's
4
where
years
that
old.
rugby knowledge comes through.
Yeah. Because it's the one good sport that the Welshmen are good at is rugby.
Aren't there good Welsh soccer players?
No.
Just Gareth Bale.
Gareth Bale is
Just
the
a
only
freak.
good one.
Is that like
there's,
Alphonso Davies for Canada, the only good one?
Ashley Young was
Ashley Young was Welsh?
yes.
Okay. Cool.
So
That's
he
like
was
our
Welsh, too.
childhood like superstar, Welsh superstar, right? That's like when we were like 13, yeah.
But
Huh.
outside of that, it's all nobodies.
Nice. Matt, what are you jotting down over there? What do you got? You got anything to come
Look up what rugby is.
on. Google Sports. Not quite sure. Why'd they invite me on this?
Oh, you guys are great. No, I was just checking in because we hadn't talked in a while, and the Jays had signed George Springer. I was just wondering what you guys thought about that scenario.
We talked about
We
Springer.
did talk about Springer a little bit.
That was on the last podcast.
That's how we got into the whole like
Fuck, keep up, Matt.
steroid thing. We did talk about
Yeah,
it. But
remember?
to touch on it again, I think it's a great acquisition for the Blue Jays.
Yes. Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now what do we do about the outfield?
All right, we got to change this to a baseball.
That causes more
He's
problems, does it
he's
not?
driving it back into baseball. It's what he knows about.
Like, this motherfucker's talking about the fucking France and Italy playing rugby. Like,
Yeah,
fuck off,
this
okay?
idiot over here
I
is
wanna-
talking about rugby. Hold on, let me get my
I
baseball
want to
cap
talk about
back
my
on.
fucking second favorite pastime in Canada.
Why,
which is the
you
Blue
don't think
Jays.
the Blue Jays have a strong outfield defensively? Or are you just talking about where they're going to place the players?
Yeah, I think they've probably got one of the best outfields in
Mhm.
baseball. But yeah, but more specifically, I was aiming into what your thoughts were of slipping 6 bodies into that outfield.
Yeah, 6 bodies into 3 positions. Yeah. A lot of platooning
Yeah.
and a lot of DHing is my guess. And we know sports, there will be injuries. Does it suck for the guy sitting on the pine for 10 straight games because someone's on a hot streak? Sure. But the old cliche saying, it's a good problem to have too much going on. So,
I'm kidding.
you know.
My dream job is to be getting paid to be useless. I'll sit on the
Wait,
bench all fucking day.
you're
Wait,
not-
I can make
wait.
$1 million and do nothing.
You're not already thinking that. Is that not
And
already?
then-
is that already?
And
your
then when
job?
you're, yeah,
I thought that's what you did.
Listen.
You literally, they put you in a dark hole in the ground every day. Let's get this guy out of here.
Yeah, but I don't get to just sit on a bench and wait to be called up. It's like
No, you're in action as soon as you get there.
every day.
Shit.
No, well, not as soon as I get there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, Chris is a miner. Well,
What
he's
is
not a
this,
miner. He's a heavy equipment mechanic in the mines. Correct?
This is like fan history week.
We're just talking about ourselves. For all our loyal listeners out there, they don't know who we are. How about a get to know you episode? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Matt and I work retail. Matt's the one on the bottom of the screen with the big gray beard. And I'm your host, the antagonist. Am I really the host?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, did you just dub yourself the host?
I'm the only one that seems to talk.
It's not Dan and the fan and the bandwagon.
You want to know what the comments were on the last one?
What?
The other people have to interject some more.
They just can't hear me interjecting because my shit was too quiet.
Well, now you're like right up to your mic, like, hello? Okay, can you hear? Makes
It's just not good. I'm
no,
very
it's
worried
actually
that I'm
no.
gonna be
You're
too loud.
You're like perfect.
I interject.
There
okay?
you go. Ooh, you're redlining my
Like,
soundboard.
Did somebody actually say we need to interject more?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
You're doing great today, buddy. Love it.
Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
fantastic. You got the energy. You got the. I'm feeling it. We're having fun here. You got nothing else on your notes, Matt? That's all you had, George Springer? Looked like you were penciling things down for 5 minutes there. You got to have some more. I know you got some more. Come on, bring it out, even if it's baseball. Don't let Chris get to you like that. Bad connection.
Well, I was
bad
gonna touch
connection in Tel
on,
Aviv.
Let's touch on Courtney.
He's got
what's going on down in the old
the
British
man from
fucking
Tel Aviv. He
Isle
got
there.
his mic sorted out, but the island's internet connection is a little off. Is Tel Aviv an island? Where is Tel Aviv? Matt, we got to know where you're from. Hold on.
Wait. Tel Aviv?
Yeah. Where
The
is Tel
fuck do you
Aviv?
live? What?
Is Tel Aviv even a place?
It's more of a mindset, I'm sure.
Tel Aviv.
Is it like Telemundo?
Hold on.
No, yeah, it's in Israel.
Israel, correct. Tel Aviv is
That's
not
where
an
you're from?
island. No, Matt's not from Israel. It's a joke because
No,
in the first couple
Israel's not an island either.
the first couple podcasts where he was talking through his like headset mic and it sounded really crackly and like it sounded like he was calling in from like, you ever listen to like the radio shows where they get the guy driving on the 401 calling in for the interview that he's late for?
Yeah.
That's what he sounded
Can't fucking
like.
hear shit. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like
Matt
fucking
dubbed
calling
himself
out
that, or was it your
Nokia
brother who dubbed
3000.
you the man from Tel Aviv?
man in Tel Aviv. I mean, you got a beard. You can fit in.
Okay, I'm done roasting you for 4
Right
minutes.
on, man.
You have time. What else did you have down there, written down?
Oh, yeah, I was going to talk with Bauer going to the Dodgers, and are they going right back to win the World Series?
I fucking hate the Dodgers. They're the NLCS fucking Yankees. Suck my dick. I hate baseball for that. I hate the money they throw around in baseball. Why do you have a fucking cap for salaries that means nothing? Explain that.
That I agree with wholeheartedly. I hate baseball for that.
Like good for the guys that'll make fucking 300 million. Good for like, good for Bauer. But I mean, for the sport, whatever. Look what it does to soccer. It's the same fucking 6 teams at the top of the soccer league every year. Yes, it's competitive for those 6, but it doesn't do good things for the rest of the sport.
I'm looking up their roster now to see how disgusting this is. Ooh, they got a lot of pitchers.
Yes.
Oh man.
Oh, yeah.
The Dodgers. Always the Dodgers.
They have to have the
I
strongest.
think they've got
starting
8
rotation.
starters.
MLBDepthChart.com. Here's their rotation: Kershaw, Bauer, Bueller, Price, May, Urias, and Gonsolin. Never heard of that name before. Kershaw Bauer is disgusting.
Well,
As a 1-2. That's 2 aces, right? To answer your question, are they walking right to another World Series? I don't think so. they've had this team for fucking 6 years, right? They've only won how many?
Yeah, I think we're just. Do they have a second one
Nope,
recently?
only one. So,
I'll bet you they're going back.
but they've always been kicking at the can, right? They've been in the
always.
they've been in the conversation for what? Probably the past half a decade. The Dodgers have been hovering in the National League, like, oh, they could do it, they could do it, they could do it, they could do it. And their biggest rival in that time were the cheaters. So,
Assholes. I can't stand baseball.
Yeah.
I don't know if I said that last time. I literally have nothing to input on this. Like, I
Okay,
wish Bryce Harper would have
so
been
if we
bigger
take it
than
away
he
from
was.
they went to 3 of the last 4 and only won the 1, right? And then prior to those, they were always there. Like when the Cubbies won that year, the Dodgers were a conversation, right? Excuse me. When the Giants won, and even in 14, I think the Dodgers were in the conversation because they've had Kershaw that long, and every time they've had Kershaw, it's like, that's the guy that could take him there, right? He's that one ace that can always win him a game. But no,
A very
to
small
answer
amount I know about
to answer that
baseball.
question is I don't think they're. Are they going to be in the conversation? Of course. I don't think they're going to walk right to one again. Because
Dodgers.
they've had a
They're
conversation.
the Yankees of the NLCS.
They've
I said it earlier. The only thing that I know about the NLCS is that they are the ones that
It's
should
not
be
the
going.
NLCS.
and
It's just
taking-
the NL. The NLCS is the championship series at the end.
Whatever. Okay. Okay. They're
Yeah.
all the teams in the NL are part of the NLCS
Mhm.
until the playoff picture. All right.
Yeah.
Anyways, just to further prove my point, I just think of them as the NLCS team because that's just always where they fucking are.
Which helps prove my point of, they've always been in the
Yeah.
conversation for the past half decade minimum. So
Yeah.
No, Matt, I don't think they're going to just walk to a championship just because they added Bauer. I don't.
Okay, I will put them in the World Series right now.
Cool. And that's probably a good pick, but there's other teams. And there's always that dark horse.
Let me Google what the other teams are.
What are the other good teams in baseball right now?
National League Baseball. Oh, they have the Cubs.
The Cubbies, they're past their prime.
Come on, they got what's his face there?
Yeah, that guy.
Help me out here, Matt. Jesus, I'm lobbing you softies.
Okay, so you've got so you got the Cardinals, the Pirates, the Cubs, you've got St. Louis, and I believe you have Milwaukee right now.
Did you say the Cardinals and St. Louis? What the fuck? Those are the same teams, right?
I did.
I love it.
Okay. No, I just thought there was a different team. I was thinking of the Diamondbacks. That's what I was thinking of.
That's
Why the Marlins in the fucking national? What? They're not even in the National League, are they? Oh, the Marlins are. I'm thinking of the Tampa,
Tampa Bay is in the AL.
the AL.
They're the other Florida team.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Devil
Atlanta,
Rays.
the Cubs, St. Louis, Dodgers, and then those pesky Giants always seem to pop their head in every 2 years, and make a splash out of nowhere. If Washington can figure things out with Bryce Harper again, and get a team going with him, there's some teams there. On paper, though, the Dodgers are absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, but
right? So.
What?
But Harper
What
went.
about Harper?
Yeah, isn't Harper been with the Phillies for a couple of years?
Yeah. He's with the Phillies right now.
Yep. They
Okay, I was wondering
I
what
forgot
Dan
they
was
trade- I
referring
forgot
to
they
is about
traded him.
Washington straightening out.
I seen their
Okay,
logo
I
and
thought
I
I missed
thought
a point there.
Bryce Harper right away. But yeah, I guess he's on Philadelphia now.
That's how irrelevant he's been since he's gone to Philly.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks Bryce Harper, the Nationals, and then it's like he's been playing in Philly for like 2 years. Doing what? Who fucking knows?
My problem is I pay attention to the American League only, really. I don't really, because there's that 2-league thing, and my team is in the American League, I miss a lot of the National League action, so to say.
You know what I'd love to see in baseball?
The one year I got real excited behind it was when the Cubs finally won the World Series for the first time in 100 years. That was definitely hurrah,
Yeah, it was
hurrah.
2017 or whatever.
Oh, yeah, whatever it was, 4 years ago now or something like that.
2018.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who gives a shit?
Oh, boy. Well, let's move it over to something we all know and love, the NHL. How about them Leafs, guys?
I don't want to talk about the Leafs.
Leading
Hey,
the National Hockey
best
League
team in the league.
at the moment, 15 games into the season, which is past a quarter mark in the shortened season.
Crazy.
That is about, we're getting close. We're crossing into the 1/3 of a season territory here in about 2 more games or so.
You want to talk Leafs? You need a Nylander Young Gun? I have one of those.
I have a Nylander Young Gun. I'm all caught up on that. I have the whole Corey's Young Gun other than John Tavares because he has a really ugly jersey in that rookie card.
That's what's holding you back, not the fact that it's probably like $150.
It's probably because it's $150.
Yeah.
And I'm not overly massive John Tavares fan, even though he's my captain. I'm in love with the youth on that team, i.e. Austin Matthews specifically. It's going to be a real shame when he leaves for Phoenix, Arizona.
Gonna go the Taylor Hall route. You're figuring, yeah.
No. I hope he stays, man. Anyways, rounding up the rest of the league, Boston, I had no idea would be this good again this year. I did not give them a chance, and look at what they're doing again without Pasternak. It makes me sick to my stomach. Does anyone else hate the Bruins here?
Yes.
Yep, I'm with you on that one too, brother.
But you know what? It's as much as I hate the Bruins, and I really hate them. I mean, 2011.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking love watching them beat the Leafs in Game 7. It's got to be like my favorite fucking thing. Because I'm not a big Leafs hater, but I know how angry that makes people. And it's absolutely fantastic to hear people fucking just lose their shit like I had to lose my shit. But you guys get to do it every fucking year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except for this year, you won't have to worry about it.
I'll move along from that one. It's not so much anger as it's just I don't want to say like I don't even know what it is anymore. It's just expected.
It's inevitable.
Tampa Bay leading the Central Division, go figure. And St. Louis leading the West, go figure. Surprises in the current playoff contenders at the moment. Possibly Anaheim sitting in 4th in the West is a surprise, with the Coyotes on their heels and Minnesota with 4 games at hand on their heels. Florida being in 2nd right behind Tampa. Did anyone expect that over Carolina and Columbus and Dallas? Probably not. Only played 12 games. That's 4 games at hand on Columbus, and they're ahead of them in the standings at 8-2-2. So Florida's playing real good hockey right now.
They're a dark horse,
so I
man.
would say that
a lot of people
would be my biggest
always
surprise of where their current stance is in the standings, and didn't expect, we'll say.
Yeah.
But yeah, dark horse is a good term for a team like that, right?
Yeah, they've always been a team that people look at like whatever.
What are they going to do this year? Yeah, it was always that they're a thorn in the side team where you look at it on the schedule, you're like W, and then you go in there and you lose 6-1 to them, and you're like, what happened? That's the kind of team Florida is every year, right?
Yeah.
Just
Although
scratching
they
at the
just
bit.
lost 6-1 to the good Tampa Bay Lightning, but yes.
Well, that's Tampa. And we can't forget about my perfect 10 Barkov card back here. We need to jack that price up on that.
Kid's a beast.
Oof. And then what about NBA? What are you guys thinking about the current NBA season?
Oh, the only thing I care about is the fact that they're gonna force Dallas to play the national anthem. No, like I'm not big into basketball, so I don't watch a lot of it.
I didn't know. I'm once again biased to a few teams, and when they start to taper off, my viewership tapers off. I'll put it that way. For the bandwagon in this title of this podcast, Two Fans in a Bandwagon, I'm definitely bandwagon-y basketball. I'll put it that way. It's definitely on the bottom four of the totem pole, or the bottom of the totem pole of the great American sports here is basketball's at the bottom for me. I don't know about you guys, but
Yeah.
where would you rank your four?
Do you go, if it's not the Raptors or maybe the Lakers or the Celtics, I'm just Raptors all the way.
You've just basically named everything I would watch. Raptors, Lakers are probably the only two where I would like sit down and watch a game intently. And then after that, like the NBA Finals, if it's on, but I probably won't go out of my way unless there's like a story. You know, in the last podcast, I brought up the poetry of sport. If there's a good story being written, you know, i.e. like LeBron James going to his 12th straight final type vibe. That, other than he didn't go to 12 straight because the Raptors year he missed the finals, but that's the only time I'll like go out of my way to watch a, you know, something epic story wise.
Yeah.
Where's your
Yeah,
what's your totem pole of sport in let's just say let's do two totem poles. Let's do a world sport because
Oh my goodness.
I know Chris is going to throw some rugby and some soccer in there, and then we'll do a North America one. What's your North American totem pole? There's 4 sports. You can even bring MLS in there and toss them in there if you want. I don't care.
No.
Okay.
No.
CFL.
No.
Okay.
The soon to be defunct CFL. No, I'll pass
PGA?
on that.
PGA Tour.
It's
PGA
it's an
Tour?
easy football, hockey, and that's a toss up for me. Basketball and baseball are right in the middle. I would say I watch a little more basketball than baseball.
Right.
So basketball and baseball.
Matt, what's your totem pole for North America?
Yeah, we're doing baseball, hockey, basketball, and we can throw in the soccer as well. I like the MLS.
What about the NFL, man? You picked the Super Bowl champions perfectly.
I watch the least is football.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you don't have I guess Chicago is your team, right? If you were to have a team.
But I have no
Bears.
real
Yeah.
alliance to them anymore.
Right.
The Bears.
Bears.
What,
Did
you
that
watch
stem
Devin
from-
Hampton return a fucking kickoff
Did
for a
that
Super
stem
Bowl
from the
touchdown?
80s Bears era? Is that why you linked yourself to that? When they won the Super Bowl in the 80s?
That's all it is, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Me,
Yes.
we got
My
the obvious NHL at the top for me. I'm sure you guys all know that. And then it's a tough toss-up between baseball and football for the next one. Like, they're like neck and neck, and probably depends on the quality of product on the field for my team in that specific year as to those two flip-flopping for my eyes. If the Jays are hot, I'm watching that over football that year. The beauty of it, too, is the only time there's crossover is if the Jays do make the playoffs, because the football season starts in September, and if the Jays aren't contending, then I'm going to watch the football. You know what I mean? Like, I'm flopping depending on the performance on the field, right? Between those two. You know, if there's a Sunday night baseball game and a Sunday night football game, and the Jays are, 2 games up in the American League East, I'll probably watch the Jays play. You know what I'm saying? I'll probably watch.
Let's not kid anybody here. I've been in your living room. You have 15 fucking TVs. You're gonna watch every goddamn sport
Yes,
that's on that
you're
night.
correct.
You're
I'm
gonna
talking about the one.
You're gonna be watching the World fucking Curling Championships.
I'm talking about the one that gets the audio. Okay. The one on the big, the one that gets the one that gets your attention, right? The other ones are just the glances during the commercial where you.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, and then at the bottom is basketball for the 4 major sports. Obviously, on that Raptors run, all of Canada invested a couple more hours every evening to that team because it was awesome. What about your global? Obviously, Chris, you want to change your totem pole around for a global one, and you can include the American sports in your totem pole, but bring in BPL or something of that nature.
Yeah.
Go.
It would be soccer.
So BPL
Premiership.
So BPL.
Well, no, I would say all soccer. Like I'll watch Champions League, BPL. Right. I'll even watch like Bundesliga and shit. But soccer
number one.
Then football. Then rugby. Yeah, and then it'd probably be back to basketball.
Okay.
I don't really. There's not too
not too much past that.
Yeah.
Okay. Matt, do you toss anything like foreign in there? Like, do you jive with like curling and all that?
I can't.
You'll bring them in the bottom, like.
I can't. You can't.
I can't.
You could if you tried.
I cannot. I can't.
Change does not suit me well.
Believe in yourself.
No, man. If there was something international, I'd be adding the tournaments like the Olympics,
Right.
the hockey, and when they do the baseball as well. But no, nothing on a regular basis.
I like it. I like it a lot. I am such a sports fan. I can really get my totem pole going here with the international level stuff here. Hockey, still number one. I think baseball, NFL and football still... I said NFL and football. NFL and MLB, still number 2. And then bumping basketball even further down the totem pole are the likes of golf in the PGA Tour. Specifically, Tiger Woods performing. I will go out of my way to watch him try and win more majors. Don't roll your eyes over there.
I'm not rolling my eyes. You can't see anything. This is a podcast.
Tennis. Huge tennis guy. I love watching tennis when the Canadians are performing. Bianca Andreescu, Denis Shapovalov, Milos Raonic, and Oje Assimili. Now, I think that's how you say his name. Those 3 Canadians. And then before that, Eugenie Bouchard is probably she's probably the one that got me into it the most. Other than like watching like Rafa, Nadal, and Federer have like crazy, 5-game, Wimbledon till we die 3.5 hour, crazy matches. So tennis and golf probably bump down basketball for me on my totem pole even further. And then, yes, the upper echelon Olympics, the Briar, curling and all that kind of stuff, like especially Olympics, as Matt said, or like March Madness basketball can get in there as well, for jockeying for what's getting one of the 4 TVs in the den.
Fucking man said build a totem pole, then he built a skyscraper. Like Jesus.
Yeah, there's a lot. I'm a big sports guy.
Second rung of the totem pole at the top. You've had 2 together.
If you notice, it's
football
not so
and
much,
baseball.
It's not so much the sport, right? Like I'm not just going to throw tennis on when Ding and Dong are playing. It's the the national players that I like, or the specific characters that I like.
Seeing it bad?
That's what will knock, just sadly, basketball down a peg with nothing else.
Yeah.
The baseball and football will still take out all of those things. Other than Canada going for gold in an Olympics, then we'll watch that.
Yeah. If we're adjusting our totem poles, I would say that basketball more specifically would be I would watch March Madness before I watch NBA.
I probably agree with you.
March Madness
is definitely still above NBA every year.
One of the best basketball tournaments that you'll ever see.
It's probably one of the best tournaments, period, you'll ever see.
Better than international basketball.
Yeah.
You ever watch that shit?
The USA just walks away with it every time. Yeah, that's good. I like that. Totem poles. Clever idea there, Dan. Good one. Pat on the back for myself, eh?
Yeah.
Who'd have thunk it? You're telling me you didn't like Tiger Woods in his heyday, though, Chris? Like you couldn't get.
I
on
never
that?
said I didn't like him.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not that I don't like him. He was like, he drove a generation of golf that was a bad boy generation of golf. He
Bad
made
boy.
people want to watch. It's
The
like,
bad
yeah,
boy
he's still
generation
just,
of golf.
yeah, of course it is.
Hmm.
Even like, well, he was just okay. Yeah, I'm gonna say this, but it's like, don't take any connotation to it. He was a person of color. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and instantly it
That had-
changed the outlook on it. Like it was cool. It was
It had a huge impact. on
refreshing.
sport.
You know what I mean? So
you should watch the Tiger documentary.
I'm sure they touch on all
They
that.
touch on that huge because
Yeah.
that's definitely a very, very, very important part of his story. The fact that he was a black Asian man, right?
Yeah.
Blasian. I forget the term. Like
Don't say Blee.
black Caucasian, whatever the hell it is.
Yes.
He had a name for it, and they said it in the documentary.
Anyways,
I wanna
yeah,
find
for
out now.
me, it's like, yeah, it was okay to watch. I've never been into golf for watching it. And Tiger Woods never really made me want to watch it anymore.
I can totally understand why people hate it. It's very boring to watch.
Yeah. I like playing golf. You think after like learning to play golf and trying it, that
Aha,
I would be
I
more
found
into
it.
watching it a bit? But no.
1/4 black, 1/4 Thai, 1/4 Chinese, 1/8 white, and 1/8 American Indian. When he was asked to fill out a form in school, he checked himself off as African American Asian. Tiger Woods describes himself as Cablin Asian. that's what he calls himself.
Cablin Asian,
Cablin Asian.
the most pretentious thing I've ever heard.
So it's like Ka for Caucasian, and then Blin Asian for
Black Asian.
Black Asian, and Indian. It kind of in there.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a good documentary, by the way, as well. You should watch it. Really touches on how big of a knob his father was at the start. It's like, whew.
As is most fucking parents of successful younger generation kids say.
Totally.
You want to watch a good documentary? You watch the one about the fuck, I can't remember what it's
I
called.
love documentaries. Please tell me.
Trophy Kids. You watch Trophy Kids? Oh my god.
Is that the one about... I don't want to sound
one about-
stupid. Tell me.
It's literally, it follows a, I can't remember if it's a series or if it's just a movie, but it follows different parents with different kids in sports, but they're like parents that want their kids to succeed professionally in sports. So there's like a mother that has twins that she wants to get into tennis, and just the way that they,
I watched it.
you've seen it.
Yeah.
It's a fucking disgusting documentary. I hated watching every second of it. It's rage inducing
How come?
because it's not.
I enjoyed it
I think it's.
for what it was.
It was interesting. It was interesting to me to see that there are people that are actually like that, and it made me question why they were doing it, because they all like to say it's for their child, right? I want them to be a fucking superstar in the NFL, but
Why did
is that for you or is that
they
for
living vicariously
for
through their
them?
kid because that's what they wanted? Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, there's a on that one too. There was one with a son who was a golfer, and just I don't
Yeah,
know.
I recall.
They're striving
there was
to
there was the little golfer girl, and yeah, I remember
yeah.
the football kid, and
They're striving to make your kids better and to learn discipline and stuff like that. And then there's what these parents were doing, which was what I actually see from some of the people I work with every day, because they have kids that play hockey, right?
yeah,
And it's not even living vicariously. It's just it's the chasing of the dream, whether they want it or not. And you see it in their eyes when you talk about it and you talk to them about how it's like, my son's gonna be in the NHL. It's like he should have been picked by now, like all this shit. And it's like,
What's your take on that, Matt? With you have 2 kids that are adults now. Like, do you remember taking either of them to, like Little League, this or that, and seeing parents like that around that, either A, got under your skin or you just ignored it, or?
Yeah, I've coached a lot of the kids' sports over the years, and my kids personally do not have that drive to want to win when it comes to sports. They're okay to partake, but they're not hardcore into it. Then we did a little bit of karate, and that was a little bit better for them. But yeah, the drive has to be in the kid, and I think the kids and the parents, if they're on the same page, yeah. But there's a lot of overwhelming parents out there, but I never witnessed, those other parents on the sidelines where you really saw them, pulling and pushing more than the other parents out there. But I think hockey's the worst for that.
Yeah, I think hockey's the worst for us
It's-
because we're Canadian, and it's such a embedded culture in our society where you hear that, right? The hockey mom, the hockey dad that just goes to the rink and cusses out the ref that's just there doing some volunteer work, or making $15 for the game, like $15 a game in a tournament kind of thing. So yeah, I agree. I think at least in our world up here in Canada, hockey is the worst for that. I'm sure you can find, in like the southern states where it's really terrible, and football is, the
Football
parents
is
get
bad.
Yeah, or in this certain area in Indiana, baseball is real bad for it. So I think it's across all sports and everywhere. But yeah, you're right. It's those relationships between parent and kid where they're trying to drive their kid into a career can be pretty toxic in some cases. You guys can interject more because you have children. I don't, so I couldn't describe that feeling to you. So don't know.
It doesn't worry me. I'll never ever fucking be like those people.
Yeah. Are you gonna put Owen
Not
in
me.
sport, or will you force
Yeah.
it? Will you just
Whatever he wants.
whatever he wants? Give him a chance
Whatever he
to
wants.
just pick. What do you like? Go do that.
I know.
I feel like there has to be some push from a parent to say, "Here, go give this a
I'm
try.
not-
You might like it."
Yes, I'm not saying that you never push, but there's a difference. There's a way to teach, due diligence and
Yeah.
respect, it's shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a way to do it without making your kid fucking hate you for it. Which I think a lot of the kids will grow up to hate their parents for it. They just do. I know. I already know so many people that have kids that don't talk to them anymore. They just,
Yeah. Because of what they did when they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's a guy at work and his son, like he's been putting him through hockey, and he's like, my son doesn't even really like it. He wants to play football. I'm like, well, why don't you just put that effort that you put into hockey for football? Well, because I've spent $20,000 on him over the past 6 years in hockey, and why would I just watch that go down the drain? I'm like, because it's never meant to be like an investment. It's not fucking, your child is not like a money opportunity, right?
Yeah.
I get that, like they're gonna have learned skills and abilities and all that over those 6 years. But if he wants to play football, you let him try football. And if that's what he wants to play, and he says, I like football more than I like hockey, you should, as a parent, be fucking supporting them. It's just my opinion.
Yeah. I want to add a sport to my totem pole.
I'll fucking chop that totem pole down. It's above regulation height.
Junior hockey. The World Juniors every year. That tournament is fantastic as well.
Yeah, it's pretty
I don't
good.
say it competes. I think for viewership in Canada, it competes with the NCAA basketball, but not even close. Like in America, obviously.
We're talking about your personal totem pole here. It doesn't matter what viewership is.
Yeah, that's true.
Your totem pole has every sport on it in some fucking capacity.
Well, there's certain things I won't watch. I wouldn't say every sport. Like, I'm not sitting here rocking down watching table tennis, Although in the right mood with the right friends, I probably
There it
would.
is.
I probably would.
Dude, the Russian Grand Champ is going for
Yeah.
the fucking world title. His 15th world title in a row. Never been beat.
It just has to be the right energy with the right. You know what I mean, though, right? You have to be in the right group of people, and you can vibe with any sport. I think we all could. You get your competitive juices going, and it's just fun. Either watching or partaking in.
So when are we gonna go out and have some beers and watch the next Leafs and Vancouver game? When are they playing? Are they ever playing again?
I don't know. What does orange lockdown mean for us? Like, what are we allowed to do, and what aren't we allowed?
Up to 4 people. Up to 4 people in a restaurant.
4 people at a table, or 4 people in a restaurant?
4 people at a table.
It's a bump
50,
in restaurant.
I think it's like.
I know at work we can have 250 in our retail store on Tuesday.
So I think it's about 50.
I can imagine, like 50 people.
I think
in a
it's
restaurant.
50 people for a restaurant. Like I went to,
you know what
went
it's
to the
decided?
Keg.
It's decided by the fire marshal. So they go in and they decide how much space you have. Because that's what decided our store was the fire inspector people, whatever they are. I guess the proper term is the fire marshal. Came in
Fire marshal.
and they say what your capacity is, and then Doug Ford goes, 25%. Operating for retail and restaurant, then
so for orange it's no more than 50. So if you have a smaller restaurant it can be less,
okay,
but orange is 50 people, 4 people max at a table. So March 6th,
but you can't, but last call
at
is
7
like
p.m.
The last call is like 10 o'clock now though, right?
10 o'clock, yeah.
March 6th at 7 p.m.
March 6th at 7 p.m. is Vancouver, Toronto.
It's a long way away. I can't make commitments that long away in my life. We're
This
gonna
is
be
how-
back in
okay,
lockdown,
this-
dog.
Matt, can you please tell them how responsible adults do things? They schedule shit weeks in advance.
Matt has tried this. He'll tell you.
Weeks
He'll
in
tell
advance.
Yeah, when it comes to the Hibsy, you always got to be closing.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, middle of a lockdown, fucking text me. It's like 1 a.m. I'm leaving work. You should come over for a fire. What the fuck? this is not good timing. A, it's a lockdown. B, I'm leaving work and I'm past your place. It's 10 minutes past your place now.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, March 6th. Do it. Just do it. It'll be as long as we don't go into our 3rd lockdown.
Oh boy. Let's hope not, eh?
Finger crossed.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Let's do a little.
So, Chris,
Oh,
Yar.
take it away. We won't do a little. Finish your sentence.
Hammer down.
yeah, I was just going to say, what's the problem with the salary cap in baseball versus all the other sports that makes you hate baseball the most?
Motherfucker can't just let me leave on a good note. Have to bring up the fucking baseball. I have a problem with any sport that either doesn't have a salary cap or has a salary cap and refuses to enforce it. Baseball, baseball is pretty much the only sport that has one that it doesn't matter.
Matt has
Right?
heard my opinion on this before, and we agree on the same thing.
Soccer does not have a salary cap. And for example, let's just take number 1 soccer player in the world, Lionel Messi, right? You know what he made on his 4-year contract at Barcelona? He made 574 million euros. That's fucking crazy. That's enough to fund a fucking hockey team in Canada for 10 years for one guy. That's fucking crazy, right? So when you have the ability to do that, you have the ability to just buy yourself the best team, which is
But that's his favorite sport.
what? Baseball?
Soccer.
My sport.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm not. I know it's my favorite sport, but it just comes from watching it as a kid, right? So, but I recognize that there's a problem in soccer, and the problem is they literally have a fucking relegation and a promotion system within the 3 different tiers of English football. So as a team, so a perfect example of this is Leicester City, fucking 4 years ago, promoted, and then won the Premier League, which is like one of the most incredible stories in soccer in the last like 50 years, because nobody's ever done it, because nobody should be able to do it, because in soccer there's 6 teams that are good and the rest of them are all playing in a league of their own, right? You kind of essentially are moving towards the same thing with baseball, which is great if you're like me and you have a team that's one of those top 6 teams. You know, you like the Dodgers, yeah, great, Dodgers are going to be great. You like the Yankees, yeah, great, Yankees going to be great. But if you're from an area that you have a team that you're never going to meet that salary cap because they just don't have the money. You're never going to, you got to have a Cinderella hope. And that's the only way you're ever going to win championship. And it makes it great, but you might have to wait fucking 70 years before that happens. Whereas in the NHL, yes, there are good teams. Yes, there are bad teams, but there's always a certain level of competitiveness when it comes to the playoffs. It could be any team. It really can be any team. And if soccer had playoffs, and they do, they have the Champions League. It's always the same fucking six teams, you know? It's always the best team from each league that has the most money. Bye, Ash.
Little cameo from Chris's wife.
So I like that's why like football's the same way, right? Football always has a level of competitiveness. You see it swapping up. You don't see. I know we're talking about the Patriots and Tom Brady is an anomaly. Outside of them, over the past like 20 years, it's always a fair variety. In baseball, it's like the Yankees or the Red Sox and the Cubs and the Dodgers. Like, it makes it very boring. Motorsports, Formula One is the worst for it. Mercedes-Benz has billions of dollars, so they can just put as much money as they want into it. And you know what? Fucking Lewis Hamilton has won 7 fucking championships in 8 years. Like, it's not, it doesn't make that sport exciting to watch. And literally, next year, they're implementing a salary cap. Just for that reason. Because people are like, we love Formula One, and, you know, it's great, but it's not competitive enough. It's just the same shit happening every year, year in and year out. Even Tom Brady having 7 championships, he didn't win every fucking year. Yes, he was in the finals 50% of the time, but outside of that, it was always some different team. It wasn't just either the Patriots or the Steelers. You know what I mean? It's a good variety. Baseball has lost that variety. They've lost it for a long time, in my opinion. Do you agree? Disagree? What do you think, Matt?
I think baseball's gotten way better because now they've gotten past, just the four round playoff with the 2 tops and then crossing over in the leagues. I think the wild card in baseball has made a big difference. When they've added, a 1-game playoff, add an extra round, I think that's really helped in so many aspects.
Yeah. But we're talking about salary cap. We're talking about the fact that the Dodgers can pick up a top pitcher when they have 3 top pitchers. Like, you really want to see fucking all aces on one team?
Yeah. I'm with you in some respect, but they do have that luxury tax. And does that not go back to help out the less situations in the league?
Yes, in a way.
I don't think the other leagues do a luxury tax or pay back into the lower setup teams, correct?
In a way.
They don't. The other sports don't have a cap, so they pay whatever they want. Baseball can just go uncapped.
Baseball is uncapped. It's just taxed.
If the luxury tax was doing something to help the other teams, sure, but it's not. They still all have to be within the salary cap, and most of the teams, I believe, except for the top 10, are. I don't know. It's one of those things. Like, that's why the NHL is all about getting those young guys and building them up and this and that. Baseball's about who's the fucking best. I'll buy them and I don't give a shit. If it costs me $500 million and I get a World Series, great.
Mm-hmm.
Right? In the NHL, you got to fucking earn it. You need to have your whole fucking office working so you can win a championship. That's the only way it'll ever happen. In baseball, you can have one guy that says, "Give me every fucking good player, and I will win a championship." No amount of money matters. The Yankees did it for fucking years. Everyone hated them for it. I don't know.
I
That's
agree.
just how I feel about it.
I agree.
Sports are supposed to be competitive, and when I get like money is always a thing, and you have to. That's a part of the aspect of it, but it shouldn't be the only aspect of it. Thank you. Thank you. I get a little treat from my rant there. Little Pocky.
So to bring some light into it, there's a threshold that has to be crossed, and then you're taxed. Only 8 teams have ever exceeded the luxury tax threshold. The Giants, the Red Sox, the Angels, the Tigers, the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Cubs, and the Nats. And some would say those are your most financially stable franchises in the whole league. Only the Nats most recently in their run for a championship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a little side thing. The Cubs did it for the first time ever in 2016, which was, I don't know if that's the year they won, but that's close to the year they won. And the Nats did it in 2018 for the first time ever. Up until 2016, only 6 teams have ever exceeded the luxury tax, and it's basically the 6 biggest teams in baseball. Yeah. And it seems to be a very small tax, as much as it seems like, oh my, well, we're taxing them, so it's a good thing. The dollar values that you're taxing these billion-dollar companies, that's what teams are, is kind of laughable as a slap on the wrist.
That's right.
When you consider revenues. There's a little side note here. In 2016, 6 teams were issued the tax for the first time ever. Very expensive year, obviously. The Dodgers were taxed $31 million. That's the most expensive one. So it's a percentage of how much they go over is what they get taxed. So the percentage they were over equaled up to $31 million. Let's say they spent $300 million and the luxury tax was 10%. Right? So, right.
Right.
It's a percentage over that they pay. Obviously, they had loaded up that year and they played 31. The next closest that year was the Yankees, were charged $27 million. Yankees can afford that. The Dodgers can afford that every year.
$27 million is nothing.
The Bo Sox paid only $4.5 million in luxury tax that year. The Tigers $4 million. The Giants $3.4 and the Cubs $2.9 million.
So where does that luxury tax go?
The luxury tax is separate from revenue sharing, which is a system to balance out the income distribution in large and small market teams by dividing the money from merchandise sales and media contracts. The money generated from the luxury tax is not distributed to the rest of the league, as is the case in the NBA, but is rather used for other purposes.
So it doesn't actually go to any of the teams.
It's used to prop up the league. It's not good. Doesn't go to the other teams. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So it doesn't do anything. Yeah. It's irrelevant to the other team.
50% player fund benefits. 25% goes to the industry growth fund. 25%. The remaining 25% is used to defray teams' funding obligations from other player benefits, whatever that jargon means.
So they can basically dip into it to pay out bonuses. Essentially.
So yeah, it props up the league and keeps the league going, but it doesn't necessarily just go to it doesn't go to a less fortunate team, we'll say.
No, they take the money and they fucking use it to do what they always do. Is
at least that's what I'm reading here.
The MLB.
I could be wrong. Anyhow, I agree with Chris wholeheartedly. I don't like baseball's luxury tax no cap system. I think the most competitive leagues have a hard cap, where you see the most what's the word? The most parity in any given league at any given time over, let's say, a 5 to 10 year period. Hockey, football, obviously Tom Brady's always there when it comes to football, but he's always playing against a different team.
Yeah.
Um,
It's very similar when you look at it like LeBron James, right?
and,
Even in basketball, like, yes, it was the Cavs, and then he goes to the Lakers, and now it's going to be the Lakers. But that's LeBron James. Outside of that, there's always some level of competitiveness throughout the league where somebody's getting knocked out in a season that they shouldn't be. You know what I mean? Like, we're the best team on paper. But there's also another good fucking team. The Raptors, when they picked up Kawhi, it was the same thing. Like, they weren't guaranteed to win the fucking playoffs that year. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Even basketball, they keep within a salary, still keep things somewhat competitive.
Basketball is a soft salary cap with a luxury tax attached.
Yeah.
So that sets a limit to the players' salaries.
Yeah, so there's
but the team can exceed the cap and then be taxed.
Yeah, so you can there's a max contract.
There's a
Right?
max.
That's what they mean. So you can pay every player on your team the max
You
contract.
can give everyone
go
a super,
over the cap.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a super contract.
Yeah. So that's the difference between the two. The players are capped, but the team isn't, and there's a luxury tax similar to baseball for the teams that go over. Your super teams like the Lakers of late and the Miami Heat at the time probably paid a tax. I don't know the facts on that, but I imagine with the stacked rosters they have, that was probably the case. And Golden State. And that's what you end up with, teams like that. You end up with these like 5-6 year dynasties when you have or just recurring teams for decades later that just keep peering their head out of the water that they're there when you have non-hard salary caps. The other thing I really like about a hard salary cap is how much more important the other side of the sport becomes. Management. Anyone can be a good manager with $1 billion payroll.
Yep.
Right?
100% right. Yep.
When you are an NHL general manager and you're given $78 million for a season and you have to sign 20 bodies and then a minor league team and manage two-way contracts up and down from an affiliate, and there's this waiver wire, and it's so much more dynamic, and the people above the rink watching from the skyboxes are all of a sudden an interesting layer to the sport, because if you don't have a good general manager and you don't have a good front office, you're probably not going to have a good franchise very long. You know, you look at the Detroit Red Wings of the past, the dynasty of Pittsburgh and of Chicago more recently. They had some management in there with these, you know, obviously had some lucky lottery picks in winning, you know, Sidney Crosby in 06 and, Patty Kane and those type of players that come along that help you cement a core, but you have to be able to manage those people financially
You need to
within
build around.
a set budget.
Yeah. You need to think long term. You
Mm-hmm.
can't just think, who am I buying this year?
Exactly. And that's another that's probably my favorite layer to the hard cap, is the management side of things in the background. And if I recall correctly, I don't know if the NHL always had a hard cap. I think the hard cap came in after the lockout in 06. I could be wrong. Because up until that point, the Maple Leafs would just throw money at veteran players, and at, you know, the Canadians would do the same, and all the, you know, the Rangers would do the same. They would just buy up these players for money.
Can't remember.
Yeah.
I think
that's
you're
when
right,
I
though.
think that's when it came in. But I could be wrong yet again.
I think we win, you lose, Matt.
He
Did
didn't,
one here.
he didn't defend himself very well. He just
No, he's
he
letting us
asked the
get our fucking.
he asked the
he's letting
question,
our
and then
get
he
our
sat
rant
there
in.
and listened.
Here's why you're wrong, you fucking pieces of shit. Okay.
What do you think? Why do you like that? Why do you like this, like the salary system in baseball? Like, why is that something that you're okay with? We'll say.
I just
I think what he's gonna say is that he doesn't care, which is and there's nothing wrong with not caring, but I feel like that's a lot of where that comes from. I don't give a shit about the salary. I just want to watch them play baseball. I don't want to see the best team. I want my team to have the best players. I get that argument, but sorry, go ahead. What were you gonna say? Yeah, he's like, damn, he nailed it.
you did it very, very well, sir.
No, I get it. But I like from a soccer fan, like I look at what's happened in the Spanish league, and it's like, it's great. Yeah, and like Barcelona has had a team every year for the last fucking 14 years, but it's literally a 2-team league.
Yeah.
Barcelona and Real Madrid.
Yep.
And outside of that, nobody's won as long as those teams have been pumping $500 million at players.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool. And every once in a while, there's that one team that goes on a run. But if you're not a Barcelona fan, you're having a miserable time in that league.
I think baseball
doing
has
what they
done
do
a
in
better
motorsports.
job than what the super leagues in Europe may have done.
Yes.
I think baseball definitely has done a better. I mean that obviously what is that the Italian league or whatever? They're definitely the black eye on that because
The Spanish league.
it's the Spanish league, not the Italian. Okay, same thing.
Barcelona.
Yes, gotcha.
Madrid.
I think baseball has done a better job with it. But when you look at, let's say, the last 20 years of like World Series and playoffs, it's been the same, like, 10 teams?
Yeah.
That are always, there.
Yeah. You don't see the fucking Tampa
So.
Bay Rays breaking in there. You don't see the Marlins getting in there.
The Moneyball
Even though-
Oakland A's, that's, your little, they're the little, like, flashes in the pan. But
yeah.
I still think that baseball has done better than the Spanish.
Yes, they
league.
have, but that's just because that's the most watched league in the world, or whatever you want to call it. Soccer's the number one sport in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
The most viewed sport in the world, so that's where the most money is going to be. But in comparison, they've done similar things. And when you don't have a salary cap, that's what ends up happening. If you play baseball long enough, which I know they've been playing it forever, but I think you can even say, like you already just said, it's been the same 10 teams.
Yeah.
And if you want to watch, if one of your teams is one of the 10 teams, you're not going to care.
Well,
you never will.
The thing, like,
I'll tell you right now.
It's the same 10 teams, but they at least kind of like cycle through. So there'll be like a 5-year period where like the Yankees are the standout, and then after the Yankees have their standout, there was the White Sox era, and then when we got through the White Sox era, there was the Rangers, and then the Giants era, and then now more recently we're having that Dodgers era, and the Astros era. They're kind of, they come in little chunks. But once you get through all those chunks, it's only a matter of time before that Yankees Boston era comes back, and it's really hard for those
It's just the
small market
the
teams
same-
to ever get into it. So
Yeah.
I'll
tell you, like right now, like me being a Liverpool fan for years, like I've watched them throw money at everybody,
Mm-hmm.
and it's great. I fucking love it. It's like my favorite thing about being a Liverpool fan. I get to see like the top talent, the best guys, all in the same squad. If I was a fucking Leeds fan, I'd be like, why the fuck do I bother watching soccer? They're not going to do anything. They're top talent on the team making $5 million a year.
Yeah.
It's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But having teams in other sports that are on salary cap that aren't doing good, I can see the problem in it too.
Mm-hmm.
It's so bad. It's so bad in Formula One among fans, right? It's a really bad league for it because it's Mercedes, Ferrari, Mercedes, Ferraris, Red Bull. Those are the top three. Outside of the top three, fans themselves have started recording and remembering all the wins of any fucking drivers that weren't in that top fucking six, because it was the top six for like 3 years. Not a single race had like one driver outside of those top three teams get in the top six. And it's like fans were having to make their own fucking fun with the sport because it was like, I don't care. The top three, fuck it. Well, let's cheer for the guys that aren't actually going to fucking beat them, because that was actually competitive. So the teams like Mercedes, they would spend $500 million a year on R&D, right? Put the best car on the track. Every other team was spending $100 million. So $400 million more compared to every other team. But all those other teams, when you watch them race, it was competitive. It was fun. It was racing. It wasn't one team fucking running out in front of everybody. Great. Mercedes is winning the race. That happens every fucking race. Now let's watch the real racing, where the teams that have a competitive salary to each other are actually racing, and it's fun to watch.
I'm sure NASCAR is the same too when it comes to that, right?
NASCAR is stock racing.
Yo, I know that.
Everybody's well, technically they're
all using the same
yes,
but there's not as much of a mechanical advantage, but it's always the same driver. Like there is dominated by drivers. Just for all the Yankee hate I was hearing thrown around out there,
fuck the Yankees.
They haven't made a World Series since 2009, so it's been over a decade. So you got to pump the brakes on the Yankees.
Hear me out, though.
We definitely had a 10-year period where they won like 6 of them when we were kids. So I understand where the hate stems from. You know that, and they lost a couple. Like they went to all of them. They lost a couple, but they won a ton. But there was a 10-year period where they were always in the World Series, right? And it's Tom Brady, right? That was.
But that's
your
what
Derek
they do.
Jeter,
That's what
Alex Rodriguez era.
Yeah.
Right?
So what I find in baseball, what they do is they have those
since Jeter
runs.
left, they haven't been anything.
Yeah, but that's what they do in baseball. They have those runs where they get that team that they pay for, and they pay their $60 million in fucking whatever, and they go on a 10-year tear. The Yankees are relevant. Everybody knows the Yankees again. Okay, who gives a shit? The next 10 years doesn't really matter. Put your bet out, save your money, right? It's the Yankees. Like they just need to be relevant every 10 years, just like all these other teams when they go and they spend big money.
Oh, and
because that year they just want to make a drive. The Dodgers are like the hottest fucking topic when it comes to baseball. Everyone's a Dodgers fan all of a sudden. Like
they're the best team in baseball, right?
You almost have to cheer for them for how much money they're spending. It's like, you know?
Well, I'm not going to cheer for them. I said they weren't going to walk into the World Series, so.
That's the opposite end of that. It feels like they're going to just fucking sweep it up, which they should.
Last thing I want to do. Let's wrap this thing up here. Hold up. My computer isn't loading. I just wanted to make a couple
more spots on your totem pole?
Yeah, went out a few. Billiards.
I'm just gonna start branching out.
Billiards. My favorite. Any bar sport. And darts. Unreal.
Darts.
Great stuff. Very hockey-minded folks. Let's just do a quick Canadian prediction. Tomorrow night, Family Day in Canada. 3 games. 7, 9, and 10 o'clock. 1 East, 1 Central, 1 out West. Let's pick our teams here and do a little head-to-head fun. Game 1, Leafs Sens. Who do you got?
I'll take the Sens.
Matt, who you picking?
The Leafs.
I will also take the Toronto Maple Leafs. Winnipeg Jets in Edmonton. That big home ice advantage in the COVID year. Be a tight game.
I'm going to take Edmonton.
Jockeying for position in this game. This is going to be a good one.
Jets.
I will take Edmonton along with Matt. Flames Nux.
Oh, man.
Flames Nux.
Vancouver.
Yeah, Matt.
Matt's writing this shit down.
Oh, yeah. He's got to keep track.
It's going to be Calgary.
And I will take Vancouver, just so I could beat Matt on the final game of the night.
It's all coming down to the last game.
The only way I'll remember this is I took the 3 home teams. All right, guys. Been a slice. Good one tonight.
Yeah.
Until
More
next
fucking
week,
baseball.
everybody.
We talk about baseball
Thanks,
next week,
guys.
I swear to God.
We're going to bring up baseball first thing. Hey, next week's podcast, next Saturday, tune in, guys. We're doing a 2.5 hour MLB analysis on how to run the bases.